Hello everyone, this is Stefan from Lush and Salty Aquariums. You're looking at what used to be my pea puffer biotope. There's still some pea puffers in here. I can tell by the snail carcasses, or their shells I should say. I know they're feasting, there might be one or two, but I never could see them because they adored this aquascape to the point where they used it and I couldn't actually see them swimming about. But they're in there and they're happy. I did add other livestock, as you can see from afar. I'll get in closer. This is one of my favorite tanks, if not my favorite tank, primarily because of how well the growth in and out of the tank is maintained, and the essential aquascape, which features this big piece of manzanilla wood. And I love the way the roots from the immersed plants submerge and go down and intermingle with root structure and create a wonderful place for fish to live and breed and hide and take comfort. It's all good. And then as far as the outside, these plants, and I can't name them really. I bought them in a greenhouse for a couple bucks in a little pot each one. But look at this curly Q plant. How cool is that? Look how far out it's going. I love that. I should snip it, but I just can't bring myself to do that. It also has air plants, which you can buy at any nursery for a few dollars. They could be more expensive, and I just use crazy glue and attach them to the external pieces of wood, and everything else is growing out and about like crazy. See how those vines and what have you are dangling. I wrap them around the lights. I do whatever. Speaking of the lights, these are two relatively inexpensive nano aquarium lights. I got them on eBay. I think one's a Finex and the other one's a white label, something from China. 20 or 30 bucks tops maybe, and they come right away and they work and you just clip them on. Now for the good part, the fun part, the livestock. This is one of the 5 white platinum betas. I guess white and platinum is redundant, but it's called the platinum beta. And he came with 4 others, even though I only ordered one. And so I had to house them all in different tanks, and I'll have more on that. Obviously, every time I update another tank, there's going to be a white beta in it. It's not what I would have done for a bunch of reasons, obvious reasons, but I had no choice. I couldn't just send them back to an eBay seller. I also added these. I think they're pretty exotic. They're albino strain of the high fin tetra, long fin tetra. So there's a number of hybrid mutations going on here, but it's all natural. These are not the glowfish, although glowfish are created using this same species, though generally not the long fin variety. This is more natural if you consider albinoism natural. I'm sure it's bred into the fish. I've got a small school and they just sit like wonderful phantoms, and they pop against this dark biotope, which has tons of tannins and obviously an incredible amount of shade. Forgive some of the reflection. I'm trying to work with afternoon light, which comes in from up here, but never directly. I don't advise direct light on any tanks unless you're looking for algae and lots of growth from things like duckweed, which does have its place. I do have one tank that sits in direct sunlight. So that's about as aggressive as I've ever seen. It's hardly any. These fish seem to get on well. I attribute that to the aquascape, obviously, with all its hiding places, and good luck, I guess. So on the bottom, I've got pygmy cories, a bunch of them. There's one there. And these are those empty snail shells, which lead me to believe quite accurately that the pea puffers are fine. And I do see a big fat one come out from time to time when I feed live food like blackworms and brine shrimp, which I always am doing. I also have a cluster of Amano shrimp. There's one there. You see him? He's big. They're super happy for all the reasons the other fish are super happy. These are crypt parva. They're bigger than you would expect. I attribute that again to the CO2 and the natural framework of this tank. I generally use fluval substrate, and there it is. I have no capping on it. I'm just doing straight substrate with a little bit of dragonstone, and then again that giant piece of wood. Anubias is this plant here, and I've got jungle vale in the back and some swords, and that's about it really. From up top, looking down on creation, you see how marvelous that effect is. Duckweed and frogbit and the wood and the plants growing out. Just a great overall effect. I hardly ever put my hands in this tank. For one thing, I'd knock stuff over, and for the other reason, I don't have to. Everything is fine and growing super well. What can I tell you? I love this tank. If you have any questions or want to know more, just hit me up. And even though I don't do it here, always keep your hands in the tank.